Good afternoon and welcome to Buzz News. I'm Sam Morris.
And I'm Ben Woodland.
Your headlines today. There's a growing demand for food banks in Bournemouth, and the RNLI debuted their new expedition last night at the Poole Lighthouse.
Nigel Farage has welcomed Robert Jenrick to the Reform Party during their press conference last night. Jenrick has begun campaigning for his new party this morning, following his exit from the Conservative Party earlier this week. He posted on X, "Britain is broken. Britain needs reform, and reform needs you." Analysts are watching closely to see whether Jenrick's defection attracts further support.
Local business Panbury Electronics have seen Trump's tariffs affect their sales. The company manufacture military-grade equipment and partner with UK and US forces. Ben Woodland has more.
In times of rising political tension and new laws over tariffs, Panbury's role in partner with the military has become more important than ever. Managing Director Nigel Bicknell spoke about the effects on the company.
It sounded great when the tensions rise because we supply a lot of military and security products with our microphones. But the Trump administration has put in a thing called tariffs. And the tariffs are a big challenge to us. We said that we were a friendly country, so we had a 10% tariff, no problem. But then Trump said any copper or steel put in 50% tariff. So our challenge was then to isolate the copper content of our product, which made the price of the good cheaper, and they tariff that part of our invoicing. So it's been, a big challenge actually now.
Panbury's newest inventions include products such as noise dosimeters that measure air pollution and dangerous levels of sound. These can be worn on your shirt. Nigel spoke about the exciting success of this product and of his...
The company has gone through a big evolution from selling components to actually putting those components together and creating products. Our latest products are products that are measuring environmental areas, so we can measure noise, particulates, gases in one device, and we're excited about that product.
Panbury will look ahead to another big year and look to continue their strong partnership with the military. Ben Woodland, Buzz News, Upton. Bournemouth has been given an amber rating for its highways after its potholes were deemed dangerous for drivers. The rating is part of a government traffic light scheme system which gives residents more information about how local roads can be kept safe. Naomi Kativu reports.
Yesterday was National Pothole Day, which brought out conversations regarding the amber status that potholes have within Bournemouth, whilst their roads have a green status. Pothole reporting has also fallen by 12.7% yearly. Simon Ball, who is a Green Party councillor, shared his thoughts on the potholes in Bournemouth.
Generally, when I report potholes, they get repaired, which is obviously the main thing you want. Not always as quickly as you'd like, and I think a lot of people know about the potholes, but if they don't report them, how's the council going to know? You know, they do a bit of, on-site kind of spotting or whatever, but if they're not told about these potholes, they're not going to be able to repair them quickly enough. I'm not quite sure how they did the assessment, so I'm not quite sure how they got to amber, but I think it's probably about right.
£7.3 billion is being budgeted for multi-year funding to try and allow for long-term preventing of potholes over short-term maintenance.
It's never enough. I think it'll certainly help. Of course, it'll help. We need whatever we can get. The funding settlements that the council's getting are appalling, really, and not enabling the council to do any more than the very basic. So extra funding for anything is, of course.
The BCP Council said on Facebook that they have fixed 2,500 potholes in the past year and at a faster rate than previous years. Whilst there is room for improvement, this has highlighted the importance of taking care of our roads. Naomi Kativu, Buzz News, Bournemouth.
A local bar and restaurant found in the King's Arm Hotel has opened in Christchurch. Sam Morris reports.
Nestled in the heart of Christchurch, the 18 Bar and Restaurant has been introduced to customers. This is an establishment which is motivated to have a strong start in the hospitality industry. From jazz-style themed nights to fresh meals to the table, It offers a new place for residents to enjoy. Manager Simon Bennett has explained how he envisions success with 18.
I guess success is easily determined by the looks on customers' faces. In this industry, you can see if people are enjoying themselves or not. So success will be having this place as busy from breakfast, lunch and dinner, and that's what very much I anticipate to happen.
Located in the King's Arms Hotel, the 18 Bar and Restaurant opened this week in Christchurch, offering a fantastic opportunity for residents to enjoy cocktails, organic food and a warm service. The ability to serve locally sourced organic food is something that Chef Quintin Rolls has been very passionate about, as he stressed the positive difference it can make to deliver a quality customer service.
When you taste the produce, you can taste the difference. You know, it really is quite big, some of the things, you know, especially like the meat side and the fish.
The 18 Restaurant and Bar now looks ahead to more exciting plans in the future, with an ambition to draw as many customers as possible through the door. Sam Morris, Buzz News, Christchurch. Last night, Poole Lighthouse debuted their new exhibition, RNLI Stories of Courage, welcoming anecdotes from all across Dorset. Anna Bodiam reports.
Last night, Poole Lighthouse opened for the debut of their new RNLI exhibition. The Poole community has banded together, contributing stories and artefacts that have travelled generations to land in the gallery.
We are asking people to share their family connections or stories that they know about, and this exhibition is one of the ways that we're sharing them. So we have some examples of people whose relatives were rescued by the RNLI, people who are only here today because of those rescues, and we are doing this to share those stories, to celebrate, to commemorate. We have some objects from the collection, so we have a compass that was on the Poole lifeboat that went to Dunkirk, so you're seeing bits of history here that were at the events that we hear about.
The exhibition acts as an ode to the volunteers that continue to save lives at sea. Sharon Gale shared her extraordinary family connection to the RNLI.
Yeah, my great-grandfather, Jim Matthews, was crew in Poole RNLI for 40 years. He started off in the early 1900s. He finished his RNLI career on the Thomas Kirk Wright, which is the one that went to Dunkirk. It's nice to see the details on the wall, and I'm hoping I can tell people that come to the exhibition a little bit more about them.
Stories of the RNLI are kept alive through the charity. Chairman David Richmond Coggan has been fundraising for more support following a family stroke of luck.
When I met my future wife, I fairly soon learnt that her father, who was in the Navy during the war, was on a minesweeper, had been rescued and his life saved by the Margate lifeboat. So I was interested, obviously, to learn more about that. And as we got to know each other better and became married and had a family, I always knew at the back of my mind that this was all thanks to the RNLI.
The exhibition has been orchestrated with a community focus. Gallery programmer Naya has dedicated this project to ensure the involvement of Poole and Dorset locals, making the exhibition intimate and personal for the community.
That idea of, this is all kind of reflecting, but also looking forward. And actually what I loved about this exhibition was that they were already thinking about engaging with people here and now. So looking at the kind of hyper-local and looking at the fact that we have, say like the knitting group upstairs who are like weekly kind of visitors in the space, and using them and actually getting them to then explore the past and look at so basically they were given kind of wartime patterns to recreate, and the fact that they've used someone that's here in the space, that hasn't been outsourced, it's felt, really lovely, and it continues those stories. And then we've been talking about it with our kind of staff, and it's kind of word of mouth and making sure that is passed on and it's not just left here in the room, it leaves the exhibition and it's taken home with you. And there's a lot of stories that are just, it's seeing faces and actually them being active members of the RNLI today and hearing those stories as well, which has been really nice.
Stories of Courage is calling for people all across Dorset to share their stories. The RNLI lifeboat crews have been saving lives for over 150 years, impacting the lives of many families across Poole. The exhibition will be running until the 28th of February. Anna Bodiam, Buzz News, Bournemouth.
Bournemouth has seen a rise in the opening of food banks due to the harsh weather this winter. Our reporter, Darren Mehmet, has more.
There has been a noticeable rise in the need for food banks and food aid support in Bournemouth. I spoke to Dan Washbrook at the Sanctuary Project to learn a bit about the struggles the food bank here in Kingston faced earlier and to learn a bit more about the Sanctuary Project food bank.
Yeah, so I don't know if you can see today, but we are right by the Stour. This whole thing is built in a very clever way where it all sits on tanking with pumps constantly taking the water away. And 14 months ago, we unfortunately had a kind of perfect storm, literally. The river came flooding in at the same time as we had a large power cut in Kingston. So the pumps failed, the alarm system failed at the same time as the flood started. That meant that we had about 4 feet of water flooding into this space. Flooded all the way through, we lost all of our equipment, obviously completely damaged the space. The biggest thing is it meant because of the level of water, it also damaged the tanking and the concrete, so the room was uninhabitable, which caused a big problem. It meant that the Kingston and West Howe Food Bank had to stop because we actually had nowhere to service people.
After the flooding and the rebuilding, we wanted to explore deeper into how the food bank decided what needed changing and how they found out what people wanted from the food bank. Dan highlighted how he wants the Sanctuary Project to feel like a community for everyone.
And we just ask service users, people with experience of it, what do you actually want? What do you need from this space? We had a whole plethora of stuff written down, a whole array of stuff. And what was amazing is most of it was stuff we hadn't even thought of. Because we knew we were going to have to rebuild this space completely, it seemed silly to rebuild it in the way that it had already operated for 10 years. And so we thought, okay, well, let's ask the people who are using it, what's going to make it easier for them to use. So on that whiteboard, we had a load of spaces, but some of what we had actually was really simple stuff. So a lot of people wrote on there about a need for community. A lot of people wrote on there about just a safe space where they can come. A lot of people wrote something about it being free. So one of the things we just hadn't really considered is so many places, we sort of talk about, oh, you can just go and sit in McDonald's or you can go and sit in a coffee shop, but these are all places that are going to move you on unless you're buying. We wanted to be a space that's never going to move anyone on, but it's what my heart wants to do. My heart wants to come sweeping in. And actually there's something good about recognising that we can't, but also in giving that back. Because I think what that then does as well is it helps me give agency. It helps me remember that not only can I not fix this, I'm not meant to fix this. That's not what they've come for. That's not what people are here for. That we can listen and we can hear. And often in that process, like something amazing happens. It kind of, you sit down and eventually they're helping you. They're teaching you. You're learning from them. You're hearing about new things and they've got unbelievable skills and life lessons and talents, and it's just a game changer.
We also spoke to Zoe Trim at the Gardens Room Cafe in Boscombe. Zoe tells us how charity is more than a food bank, but also a welcoming community hub aimed at supporting people.
Yeah, so I think a big thing for us as a food bank is about it being, supplying those emergencies, but what else can we do around to support it? So food poverty is a money issue. And so we look at why those customers are struggling. So is it the fact that they've just lost their job? Is there ill health? Is any of the reasons? And we try and work with them. So we do a lot of signposting in our hubs to different agencies, Access to Wellbeing, other food places they can go and get meals throughout the week. Whether it's to solicitors' advice, for benefits advice, we have our own debt advisor. So we work along around the reasons people are in food poverty, and the food is kind of alongside that. So I think whereas people think food bank, they just think about the food. When you get to know all the projects we have, a lot of them are centred around food, but actually it's much more than just the food. We have a team of over 300 active volunteers who keep this place running. Without them, this would not happen. From our hubs to our cafe to our warehouse, the office admin, delivery drivers, projects like Social Canteen and Winter Warmers, their lots of it is run by volunteers.
It seems the food banks are not only an opportunity for people and families to get meals, but also a place where communities come together as a foundation. However, should this be down to the people to run or the government? Darren Mehmet, Buzz News, Bournemouth.
A craft and movie night hosted at Patch Bournemouth has started crocheting blankets to donate to Bournemouth Food Bank. Last night, one of their fortnightly events took place. Justina Reynolds reports.
Stitch Nights, hosted by To Be Adorned, have been created to encourage community and prevent isolation post-COVID-19. The event encourages people to come together for a film night while they work on their newest craft project, as opposed to being at home with no company or socialisation. It has created a community for crafters, which is something Becca Parker, the event organiser, was determined to have, believing that the BCP area never really had this before.
It's really special, and I think, yes, it's a part of my small business, but the most rewarding thing is seeing like real friendships formed and seeing people's confidence grow and seeing people learning new techniques and having those hooray moments and showing off their finished projects and helping each other out when we get stuck. It's really special, yeah.
So I've been coming to Becca's Stitch Nights for just over a year now. I like the general vibe. I guess if I'm at home, I'm just sitting in front of the telly, like crocheting. And like in terms of brain power, it doesn't take any more to do it in a setting with other people, but it's nice to have the conversation and the company and to be able to talk about the craft and like whatever else we're yapping about as well, basically.
This evening we have got squares that we will be joining as part of our community project for making face blankets for Bournemouth Food Bank.
Even if you have no current craft project, you can come along and contribute to the Bournemouth Community Food Bank project by putting together pre-made granny squares in order to create baby blankets that will be given out at the food bank. There was a table full of these squares to put together, giving more or less experienced crafters a chance to be involved while giving back to the public. To Be Adorned have focused on donating to Bournemouth Food Bank a lot, focusing on squares for blankets in the summer. They partnered with Dots Yards at Bobby's and had a crafting and donation station for the public throughout the Christmas period. Having it involved in the Stitch Nights, which have been going on since August 2022, meant that there were more opportunities for people to use their talents to give to the public. The Bournemouth Food Bank aims to create a hunger-free society and bring community together across BCP through the help they provide. They have been running since 2007, working to support the local community with emergency food and more. These events will continue to be run throughout the year, giving people the opportunity to create blankets for the food bank or just to come along and make new friends and be part of a very special community.
We're all reaching for it. I think we're seeking in real life connections, getting away from the screen a bit more and having that in-person, face-to-face relationships in a different way. Slowing down, mindfulness, that's a huge part of knit and crochet and other kind of slow crafts. So yeah, I think it's a combination of the two, wanting to connect with other people and wanting to slow down for our well-being and also as a creative outlet.
Justina Reynolds, Buzz News, Bournemouth.
A new writing workshop in Southbourne will encourage people with dementia and learning difficulties to become creative writers. The first writing workshop was held at the Inclusivity Community Church today. Lewis Eyre reports.
This revolutionary programme hopes to unlock memories and cognitive skills in older people. The theme of the first workshop is a treasure hunt through the history of Bournemouth and the members' connection to its heritage. Kevin Bales, who runs the workshops, guided us through why this new programme means so much for people with dementia and their carers.
Writing in itself is powerful because putting pen to paper or typing or printing, having your inner thoughts physically out there has a power for you to see it physically out there and for others to physically see what you have written, what you have created. That final product I think is powerful. But I think for me more so, when I've been doing the workshops previously, it's not so much the final product, but it's that process of people thinking it through, letting their creative juices flow and just letting their mind go in all sorts of places, knowing that they're allowed to. So I picked prompts such as these books, and then the books themselves hopefully connect to them better, because it's things like train lines, travel, Dorset, bird watching, nothing too outlandish, nothing that's too many steps away from like their day-to-day life. So I was hoping these kind of books will kind of bring them to things they know and things they've experienced in the past. So we're kind of trying to help them unleash their creative side through their memories rather than being more esoteric, if that makes sense. So definitely picking these books is I'm hoping will be helpful.
More workshops will be held over the coming weeks, which Kevin and the rest of the team hope will make a profound impact for the writers and their carers. Lewis Eyre, Buzz News, Bournemouth.
It's been a busy news day, so head over to our website at buzzbournemouth.co.uk to have a look at more of our stories. Here's an example of the type of thing you might find, reported by Lois Watts.
Can ultra-processed foods be avoided on a budget? As families face rising food costs and growing concerns about ultra-processed foods, local nutrition experts say healthy eating is still achievable without breaking the bank. More than half of UK adults believe ultra-processed foods are impossible to avoid when shopping on a budget, according to new research. Yet local nutritionists and food educators argue that with the right approach, cutting down on ultra-processed foods whilst managing cost is not only possible, it's essential for long-term health.
And finally, I think somebody's lost their dog. A dog statue was stolen from outside an address on Whitecliff Road. The statue was described as grey, cast metal and approximately 3 feet tall. It's said to hold sentimental value to the victim, so anyone with information is encouraged to contact Dorset Police.
That's all for the latest news. We'll be back next week. Goodbye for now.